Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I'm telling you this, if I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. Are you ready? Are you ready to be inspired? Are you ready to just have all of your excuses about this business totally melt away? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share a story, and I am going to have a conversation with a wholesaler out of Greenville, South Carolina, that 2 years ago didn't have a home of his own, didn't have a place, was living on the floor of his sister's apartment, and since then has done 52 wholesale deals, has completely turned around his life financially, and I'm just so excited to have in the TTP studios here in Phoenix, Arizona, Mr. Pat Martin.
Man, thank you.
Patrick Martin, here we are.
Thank you for having you. Call me Pat, man.
All right.
Call me Pat.
Pat, I'm telling you, incredible. I mean, what a story. I mean, you're sitting there 2 years ago.
Right.
You're watching this podcast. You have big plans. You have big goals. You have big dreams.
Right.
How do you go from living at your sister's house to actually taking action in the real estate business?
Yeah, man, to be honest, man, it was just me wanting more out of life. And I think it came down to my why, man. I have a strong why. I see myself in a certain position a few years from now, man. So it just came down to me wanting better for my life, my family, creating a generational wealth, man. It just came down to that. And it came down to what do I want to be, what kind of man I want to be. And, like, from that point, you know, man, I obviously had to fix a few things within myself. But, man, I feel like, man, once you start working on yourself, man, the outside will change. So, man, I just started, you know, I've been working on myself, and man, look, man, we here today.
Yeah. I mean, here it is 2 years later.
Right.
From watching it, now you're on here sharing your story. And listen, the only way that happens is if you're being successful. The only way that happens is if you're taking action.
Taking action.
That's
yes,
it.
Sir. You got to take action.
So what were you doing before starting to, you know, that kind of led you up to listening, watching this podcast, and really, you know, feeling those, you know, strong emotions to be a real estate entrepreneur?
Right. Man, honestly, man, it all started and back when I was at I came home from college when I was like 21, man. I had a job, and that job was like a 12-hour shift. And, man, one day I was at work, and I was just like, it's more to life than this. Like, it has to be. I was sitting on the line like, damn, it's more to life than this. And then I just, like, the first book I read, I started reading books was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
And then from that point I read Think and Grow Rich, and like those two books just led me down the path of wanting to be my own boss. And then I just started taking action, and it, hey man, led me here. But man, I think, those two books, and you know, reading those books and like planting, cause like a lot of people can read books and let it go past you, but when you read a book like those and you take action on it and you implement the principles those books tell you, man, like everything can change. And I feel like, man, once I had enough courage, because a lot of people don't have enough courage to do deals or believe in themselves. But once I had that courage and like, man, that self-faith, having faith in God, man, I feel like, excuse me, man, like things change from that point.
It is. Well, this is you're like telling the same story, like my story. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, found Think and Grow Rich. All of a sudden, it changes your brain, right?
It does.
And what I'm saying, anybody that
if you're ready for it, though.
Right.
You got to be ready for it.
Well, and what I'm saying is, like, if you read those two books and you're thinking differently, you're acting differently, you're wanting different things, you gotta take action on it right away, because that can just like disappear. It can disappear if you're not constantly feeding that. You know what I mean? It's a nice jolt. It gives you direction, makes your brain think differently. But if you're not taking that next step to be able to provide value to the community, that's how we get paid, right? Our income is equal to the value we provide to our community.
It's cause and effect.
That's it. So you read those, and then how do you start this journey? How do you get into actually talking to property owners and getting in front of them and getting these 52 deals in 2 years?
Right.
Bro.
Honestly, man,
that's bananas.
Man, I appreciate it, man. It took a lot of hard work. Honestly, man, it started, man. I went to a seminar. Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones where they're like, you do this. You know, you pay 20 grand with blah, blah, blah. And, like, they stayed on wholesaling for a while, and that caught my attention because, like, no money down. I was like, bro. Like, he showed a slide with it before and after. He didn't do nothing to it. I was like, they're like something I could be good at. And then from that point, just going on your YouTube, man, I Googled, I think I'm YouTube University. So anything I want to know, I'm going to YouTube. So I go to YouTube, type in wholesaling, come Brent Daniels screaming and yelling TTP. I'm like, man, I like this dude, man. So from that point, you know, I started driving for dollars. Actually, my first 3 deals were around the block from my grandma's house. So I started driving for dollars there and locked up my first deal. I think it was February 20 of 2019. Sold it, made $12K my first deal. And then from that, man, I just kept going. So really starting off driving for dollars, man, it changed my life, man. Just putting $10 in my car. Mm-hmm. I mean, those $10 essentially turned into 6 figures when I think about it long term. But yeah, just driving for dollars. Yeah. That's how I started.
And that's beautiful. That's what I wanted to get to because, you know, a lot of people, they're going to listen to this. They're going to see this. If you guys are just listening to this, make sure you check out, put a face with a voice, check out the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. But you need to take the inspiration that you're feeling and then actually do something. Mm-hmm. And the easiest thing to do is just drive around the neighborhood and write down the addresses of ugly houses.
Right. And back then, I didn't know anything about deal machines. So I was writing them down on my phone and I write down on a notepad and I would just go home and I would type the edges in on fast. I was doing it all backwards, hand down. So back then it was more of a grind. Now it was more like automated to where, back then I was doing the old school way. Yeah. So,
And pulling all the data from the public records and everything. You don't have to do that now.
Right, you don't.
And, Deal Machine changed the game on that. And I'll give out the discount code at the end of this podcast. But so you're going out there, you're writing down these addresses. How are you, the first 3 deals you said were right around your grandmother's house. Did you knock on the door? Did you call them?
No, well, cold call.
Yeah.
I've only ever cold called.
Okay.
I'm a big TTPer.
Yeah.
So how that first deal went, I actually found like 20 properties that day. And then back then, I think Deal Machine has it to where they have numbers on there.
Yeah.
So I think it's about the 14th house. I called the guy, asked him what he wanted to sell. He said, yeah. And back then, I didn't know what I was doing. He was like, man, what you want to offer me? I went on Zillow, looked at it. I seen it was worth $35K.
Yeah.
I took off 15. Yeah. Offered him 20.
Yeah.
He said he'd take 25, sold it for 38. So
just like
happened that quick,
yeah.
It happened that quick, and then that guy he ended up owning like 20 properties. He sold me 3 deals since then. So yeah, that's a lifetime customer too. So customer service is big in this too, man.
Sure.
Like whatever you telling the seller, man, if you deliver on that and like man, you do what you say you're gonna do. In that timely manner, that seller gonna have a lot of respect for you.
Oh, for sure. Build that relationship. And want to do business
with you too in the future.
Yeah. And, when people own a lot of those properties, typically they don't want to sell all of them at once. They kind of they don't want to take the tax burden that happens with that.
Right.
So you stay in front of them and you keep in contact with them. And all of a sudden, somebody that owns 20 properties that sells you 2 this year, sells you 2 every year for the next 10.
And that adds up too.
It adds up.
You got to think about it. Yep.
So let me go back to something here. So when you're driving for dollars, the phone number is on the Deal Machine app. Are you calling right there, or are you waiting until you're home?
I used to call on the spot.
That's it.
I used to call on the spot.
I am telling you.
Right.
That is that. I am telling you. Anybody that is like, okay.
Especially starting out, you definitely can call on the spot.
Exactly.
Now, if you're a seasoned wholesaler, like it is best to build that big list. But if you're starting out, you riding around the block, man, just go ahead and call them on the spot. Man,
That's
just put yourself. And I think, man, me throwing myself, man, I've always been a risk taker. So me throwing myself in the fire, like man, those first 5-6 deals, I wasn't doing a script. I was just calling to see who wanted to sell.
Yep.
And I think me throwing myself in that fire is what helped the universe bring it back to me. So
yeah, imperfect action.
Imperfect action.
And as Tom Kroll says, it's progress, not perfection. Right? It's
Facts.
just taking that, and I always thought that was something that challenged me, Pat. When I was starting out, I would write down, like, if it was like a for sale by owner sign or something, or it was like a for rent by owner or something, I would write down the number, and I would take it back to my office, and I think about it, and then I might make the call, might not, and then all of a sudden, and I was like, I got to stop doing this. There's nothing, like, I'm going to talk myself out of making this call.
You're not going to die from making a phone call.
Right. So I was like, I implemented a 5-second rule. If I got a number, I call it in 5 seconds without even thinking. Just boom. Because most of the time, we're hallucinating what somebody's going to say, or we're trying to like we're already having a conversation of how we're going to like move and shake on this call when they just answer and they're like, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Right.
For the most part, people are really friendly. And if they're not going to do business with you anyway.
Right.
So we have the advantage of we got to talk to friendly people and ask them about their property. And if we do it right then on the spot, there's no slippage. There's no way we're going to.
After a while.
Oh my gosh!
It becomes a habit. Like now, I used to second guess, like calling home. Like, I don't know what he gonna say. Like, remember for a year, since 2020, like man, I just pick up the phone.
Yep.
You know, you either gonna sell it or you're not. But people gonna do business who they know, like, and trust. So
yep.
You know, I try to make, cause like sellers call you back, but it's rare a seller call you back. All wholesalers know sellers rarely call you back.
Right.
So when you do get a seller on the phone, man, it's about capitalizing on those 3 or 5 minutes. It's getting through with it, man. Don't try to, cause man, we all do that sometimes. We come up with stuff in our head that's not even there, and you know, like, cause fear is not real. So I don't think fear is real, man. I believe in faith. So I feel like when we take that fear out, and replace it with faith,
I love it.
It's gonna change the whole game.
And then you have that faith. And then all of a sudden, you get that deal locked up. You get that check in your account.
Like,
that faith turns to fact. Right? And that's what's so exciting. But in the beginning, I think that's absolutely beautiful. Replace your fear with faith. Oh, facts. I love that.
Facts.
And then it turns, and then you cross that bridge, and it becomes a fact once you close those deals.
It's kind of like I just think about like chains being like laced onto you, and like, man, that fear. I mean, when you get that fear off, it's like, it's crazy how the world opened up. Whenever you take that fear away, replace it with faith, man, you can move in like so many levels in your life. You can go far in life if you just, man, like replace that fear with faith and know that, man, your hard work gonna pay off.
That's incredible.
It will.
It will. Every time.
Will.
And especially, listen, if you're going out there with a servant's heart and you really want to help out the people that you're in this, that are in whatever situation that they're in, there's only a small segment. The statistics show 6 to 10% of people are in distress around the country at all times, okay?
Right.
It's a tiny, tiny, tiny amount compared to the 96 or 90% of other people that are not. Right. So we're dealing with people that are in distress, and these people want to trade equity or potential equity for speed and convenience.
Yep.
That's where we come in. We have the faith that we can do it. We use our skills and our abilities and our talents and experience to just call them up and ask them if they would consider an offer.
Right.
Magical things happen.
Then we close it.
Magical things happen.
That's what closers do.
This is not rocket science.
It's not. Closers going to be closers.
Yeah. That's going to be.
They are.
That is. I mean, it's very hard to screw up a motivated person that really trusts you.
It is.
I mean,
it's very
you know
hard.
what I mean?
It's very hard.
You really have to go out of your way. But the biggest thing that people do, the biggest mistake that I see that people do is they just don't keep calling. They don't follow up. They don't follow up with these leads.
Right.
Because I think that there's a fear that if you follow up, they'll tell you they don't want to sell anymore. And it feels good to have leads in your pipeline. You feel good about that.
Right.
You feel warm.
Right.
But that leads don't mean deals.
Leads do not mean deals.
Right. Deals mean deals.
Right. Conversion means deals.
Yeah.
You're right about
That's
that.
it.
You got a good point with that.
That's what's exciting. The exciting thing is, and what I want to really get out here is, here's Pat. He's sleeping on the floor of his sister's place. He has the inspiration to go out there with not a huge budget, drive for dollars, get some phone numbers, call them up.
Honestly, when I started wholesaling, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go.
Well, like when I started wholesaling, I probably had like $200 in my name.
Right.
So
yeah,
you gotta think, like putting $10 in my tank. I mean, I supposed to use that for food that day. I mean, that's a risk. So man, I feel like just not having that thought in my head, just knowing, like, placing that fear of faith is what got me here. Like, so yeah. started with like $200 in my account.
Yeah, but there's got to be something in you, Pat, that says, because you could have got a job.
Yep.
You could have gone and got something that you fall into and maybe make a career out of for the next whatever. But there's something that says, you know what, I want control.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Have you always been like that? Like what?
Honestly, I have been.
Yeah.
Like it's just something in me that just, man, I know for a fact. Like actually my stepdad put this in me. He always told me, man, son, like you can be what you want to be. And I think, like that was a gift and a curse in telling me that because he made me think that. And I truly believe that. So like if I want to go out and make $1 million, this next year, then I can do that. I want to go out and be my own boss. He always told me, Pat, you can be what you want to be.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to work hard and put the time into it. So I feel like I always want to be my own boss. And I feel like I'll always be my own boss because like it's just certain. It's not even a boss thing. It's more so just having control of your life, your time, your freedom. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with it, but I used to take offense whenever I had to ask my boss, can I use the restroom?
Right.
I have to use the restroom, but I have to ask to use the restroom. I have to clock in. Nope. I mean, there's nothing wrong with rules. Like life need rules, but me having to ask to use the restroom and having to ask to take a break, you can't use your cell phone. That's not how I want to live my life. I want to live my life doing what I want to do and chasing the dreams I want to chase, not. Yeah. I don't want to build nobody else's dream up. I want to build mine up.
I had a problem asking for the bathroom in like elementary school. That's okay. I was like,
weird.
What is going on
here?
Like,
that's weird.
And everybody's like in this box and they want to do these things, and I understand.
School sets us up to be workers, though.
Right. Mm-hmm. They set you up to be workers, and you're in straight lines, and you're in rows, and then you go to college, and you're that, and then your college is setting you up to be a good employee, and all this. And I remember being in college and high school and junior high, and I'm like, where's the freedom? Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want people telling me what to do. It feels very awkward to me. And I think a lot of people that listen to this and watching this feel the same way. Yep. They have that fire in their belly that's just like, wait a second. We have this opportunity to go out there and provide value, and without people telling us what to do and how to provide that value, and them getting most of the benefits of our value that we're providing, I'll just go do it myself.
Facts.
And that's what you're talking about. Yes, and you had that with $200. The point I'm pulling this back to, you had that with $200 in your account. Like, that's like one of those, oh man, I gotta make something happen moments. But when you're there, I mean, when you're at that position, you've got nowhere to go but up. I mean, you've got a solid foundation to build off of, and you went out and you got hungry, and then you changed it all. You turned it all around.
I had to, man.
Fast.
I had to.
How fast did it go from the day you started driving for dollars till the first time you got a deal closed?
Honestly,
yeah.
I started driving February 2019. I started driving March of 2019. Yeah. And I locked up that deal and sold it. I closed my first deal April 23rd, 2019. So about 30 to 40 days.
Right. Right.
And then after that, man, it's just snowfall. Like I've had, you can say it too, man. You've had deals where you might call them on a Monday, man. They might be locked up by Thursday, man. You might have a check the next week. So, man, it can happen quick.
We talked to somebody yesterday at 11:30, locked it up at 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you could probably close that like next week or after that. So it can happen quick, right?
Big deal. We talked about it. How big is it? I'm telling you. Well, we locked it up for $375. Comps in the area are $550, and it's clean. I mean, it's not perfect. It's an 80s built, 70s built, so it's wacky floor plan, but it's gonna be a nice deal for somebody.
That's nice.
It's probably 50, 60K.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's a nice deal.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, man. So it can happen real quick.
Like,
I mean, you just got to put the work in, man. But it can turn around real quick. Yeah, it really can.
So let's break down a deal.
Let's do it.
Because we talked off air. You have an interesting range. You've made $1,700 on a deal, and then we're not going to talk about it. We're going to reveal how much you made on this deal. But let's break down this big deal that you did. Because in South Carolina, what is kind of the median sales price? Is it 200, 150? Well, like, it's not way up there.
No,
right?
no. Like South Carolina just depends. So like if you're in like
Greenville.
Yeah, in Greenville. Yeah. So like if you're in certain zip codes, like certain houses all fixed up might sell for 150.
Okay.
And then those nicer areas they're selling for 250. 350, 450. It just depends on the area. Like if it's an A-class area, like downtown Greenville, like you have a house like down there, that 29609 zip code, like those houses probably sell for 350, 400. But like, man, the median around there is like between like 150 and like 200. So like, it's a great market for like people who want to buy a house for maybe $70K, put work into it, sell it for 150 to 200. So yeah. Yep.
Is it a big rental market? Are people building it, or is it mostly flips?
Honestly, man, I think, man, it's a lot going on out there, man. So you got a lot of fix and flippers. You got a lot of guys who love buying vacant lots. Man, I love doing land. I've sold land to like, I've sold land. Hey, y'all been getting that land. So man, land. And then I also have buyers who want to just buy and hold. But I think Greenwood was more of a fix and flip, like more of a like, newly construction city. Like,
got it.
Yeah.
So you got to get them deep discounted.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Okay.
You do.
So let's talk about this deal.
Let's do it.
All right. So how did you, so you cold called it.
I did.
Right? That's your lead generation. What list was it on?
It was driving for dollars.
Driving for dollars.
Driving for
D
dollars.
for D. Driving for dollars. And anybody, listen, if anybody's a little bit confused or maybe they're hearing this for the first time, driving for dollars is literally what it is. You're literally driving around in the neighborhoods that are around you. You're looking for properties that need the most renovation. You're looking for properties that are a little bit rough around the edges. That's what driving for dollars is, if that's confusing for anybody. So you're driving around, you see a property that needs some work. You put it into your Deal Machine app. Then you call it, right? And what's the situation? What's the condition? What was their timeline? What was their motivation? And then we'll get to the price.
Okay. So this specific deal,
Yeah.
I actually found that deal February 2020.
Okay.
That was from that list. Cause I drive in like quarters. I drive like in quarters, calling quarters.
Yeah.
And with that deal,
quarters like every 90 days, or quarters
so
like you quarter off the area?
Every 90 days, I'll drive for dollars, probably 4 to 5 days a week.
Got it.
Then that next quarter in, I'll cold call that list, and I'll still drive, and I'll just filter it down. So
keeping the list fresh. Yep.
You got to have fresh lists.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I found him driving for dollars. I actually cold called him. I don't think he picked the phone up the first time, and then I heard him on the voicemail. I left him a voicemail and text him. He texted back. We started talking. And I remember like yesterday, he told me on the phone. I asked him what he wanted for property. He said he didn't know. So, when he tell me that, like, man, I got alarm bells ringing up in my head. Like, you don't know what you want in this area? Because that's a nice area. It's called, Dunny and Mill, where we from. If anybody's from Greenwood know about Dunny and Mill, they know Dunny and Mill is hot. So he told me he didn't know what he wants. So I was like, I'm gonna give him an offer. Okay. So I ended up offering him.
Well, hold on. Okay. What's the condition of this property?
So that house really, it needed new floors.
Okay.
It probably need like 20, 30K. It really didn't need that much.
How big was it?
It was probably 1,000 square feet.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It was an old mill house. So like we had these mill houses that were like they're not like too big, we're not too small, but they all just go like this.
Got it.
It's like a mill house. Like,
is it like
I'll show you a picture when we get down.
Yeah, real charming architecture.
No, it's more like it's like an old school mill house. It's it's like a regular like. I'll show you a picture. Yeah. So like it really didn't need that much work. Probably need about 25, 30. Okay. I actually did a deal with a guy named Lafayette. So so he happened to be in town that day. I think me and him was driving, and we had the appointment. He went with me to the appointment, and we just locked up together. The homeowner said he didn't know what he want.
So you talked to him. So you real quick, just so that everybody understands the timeline here. So you called him. He didn't answer.
He didn't answer,
but he texted you.
I heard his name on the voicemail,
and so you knew it was him.
I texted him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my mojo was saying his name.
Did you text him from your personal cell phone?
I do.
Okay.
So like wholesalers, that's the key to get this too, man. If you call him no mojo and like you hear, hey man, it's Brent Daniels. Yeah. I'm sorry I answered your phone, but the thing say Brent Daniels, text him and see if you want to sell. Like he might text you back real quick, and you get it.
What a tip!
Yeah.
Yep. What a tip. And so when he texted you back, and you got on the phone with him, what was his timeline to sell this?
His timeline to sell as soon as possible. I left it out. So basically, he had a tenant in there.
Okay.
So man, it was a family friend. He hadn't paid rent in like 2 years.
There it is.
So that was the pain point.
That's the motivation.
Yeah. So when I drove by the house, I seen like all this stuff in front of the yard. I was like, I need to call him ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
And then I called him and talked to him. So yeah, his cousin hadn't paid rent in like 2 months, and the guy like, he's not some rich and very. He got the house deeded to him.
Yeah.
So he kind of need that money. I mean, $800 a month. Like that can do. I mean, it can do a lot of good.
Sure.
So, yeah, so he wasn't paying his rent, and then I come along, you know, I'm gonna lock that thing up.
So he's got his friend in there, and this happens all the time.
It does.
And this is, by the way, Pat, I love how much you made on this. We're about to reveal how much you made on this deal, but when people when I hear people say, I've got a family member, I got my son, I've got my brother, I've got my cousin, I've got my buddy from college, I got all these people living in the property rent free. Whoo! I know it's going to be a big deal.
It's going to be a big deal.
Oh, it's so stressful for them.
It is.
It's so stressful for them because, one, they're not taking care of the property, right?
Because people don't value free stuff.
That's right.
They don't. People don't value free stuff.
They're not taking care of the property. They're not paying rent. He's got taxes. Now he's got code violations on the property. Property's falling apart. It's like the sky's falling. And he inherited this property?
Inherited
brother.
to him.
Pat,
$0.
This is like the perfect storm.
It was the perfect deal.
Yeah,
It was. So we end up
how much did he want? How much did you get? Did you pull a price out of him or did you throw something out?
So at first he was around like
30,000.
30,000.
Okay. And this is in a great area.
Yeah, man, the house worth as is about $100,000. About, I don't want to say 100, but that house, I think that house on MLS sell for $100K, but off market it might sell for 85, 90.
So just to educate everybody here, so he goes, "Hey, listen, I don't know what I want for this house," and you're like, "Okay, this is a nice area." He should know.
He should know.
And there's something else going on deeper here,
right?
Like, so how did you get 30 out of him? Did you throw out something, or was he just like, if you give me 30, it'll work? Do you remember?
So I think he said he wanted 30.
Okay.
And I was like, the best I can do is 20, and he came back 25.
Yeah.
And then we locked it up for 25.
So and this is interesting because I want to go through this just a little bit, because when people say initially, I don't know what I want for the property, what a lot of times that is, they're putting up their force field, right? And they're kind of saying, they don't really know, or they want to see what you're going to say next, and they want to kind of feel you out before they give you that information.
Right.
And then you go in, you start talking about the condition of the property, what's going on, how can you help solve this problem.
I negotiated him inside the ugliest part of the house.
Right.
Like, I make sure when I'm talking to sellers, I want to talk to them in the ugliest room. Like, right. Let's talk in the room that got the floor going in. Yeah. All the joists going in the floor, man. Let's talk in the room with a hole in the roof, man. Let's talk right there, so they help too.
Beautiful. So he's talking, and then he goes, he's feeling more comfortable with you because, listen, every seller has a number.
They do.
Every seller has a number.
Do.
It's just whether or not they trust you to give you that number.
Yep.
So he throws out 30. You're standing there. The floor's caving in.
Man.
And you're like, well, I think 20 is probably the right number.
Right.
And he's like, let's meet in the middle.
25.
So you lock this thing up for 25.
Yes, sir.
And then you put it out to your buyers?
Yep.
Put it out. How many buyers do you have at the time?
On my buyers list, I have 722 buyers.
722.
Yep.
Beautiful.
I looked at it right before I left.
So you got
722 buyers.
You've got a good amount of buyers. You blast it out to everybody.
Honestly, with my buyers list though, I mean, I don't mind saying it because I'm real transparent. Yeah. So me, if a buyer buys a deal for me, I call it the VIP list. So if you bought more than 3 deals for me, man, I might send you the deal before I blast it out.
Got it.
See if we can do something.
I mean, Pat, I don't like it, but I understand it.
Right.
But I don't want you to be a cash buyer employee.
Nah, I'm definitely not a cash buyer employee.
Good.
Nah.
All right.
That's on my mirror, my wall. I don't be a cash buyer employee.
Yeah.
So, but I just feel like on like certain deals and on some sellers, all sellers don't want to see their deal blasted out. So I feel like with certain deals,
I get it.
Yeah,
case by case.
Yep.
We do the
case
same
by case.
thing. Yep. If it's a sensitive situation, or if I feel like it's a really big deal like this one, and I don't want to put it out to the whole market.
That one I blasted out though, man. I had to blast that one out. I knew that was gonna go crazy.
Sure. So you blasted it out, and was it a feeding frenzy? Was it just one specific buyer? Was there a lot of buyers?
Yeah, I blasted out. Blasted out for 87.5. And I probably had 20 people to book a showing. And the first buyer that saw it, he bought it. For $85K.
Woo! $85,000.
Actually, it was around like 86 because our assignment fee was $29K a piece, so it was like around like 86. But it was, And
it was a total of how much was the assignment?
$29K a piece.
So
$60,000.
$60,000. Come on, and ring this ring this.
Now I've been waiting to hear that. I've been waiting to do that, man.
Yes.
Yep.
That's from one call. Like
one
literally,
call.
if you trace this back and look at what is the seed of this opportunity,
TTP.
It was calling them.
Mm-hmm.
First driving, getting ugly houses,
and then great data
being brave enough. Yeah, you got to have.
I think great data is.
You need to have the right phone number.
Yeah, you gotta have the right phone number. I think people when they try to cheap out on data, it always stab them in the back because you can get 100. Like numbers, you might go to fast food search. I might go to Jesse, go to back skip tracing, and I might get to that seller first. All right, so you gotta have great data.
First, make sure that you're going after distressed properties.
Right.
Second, get quality data. There's no point in calling numbers that aren't going to connect you with the actual owner. Batchskiptracing.com. It's not even close. And then you got to be brave. And what you said early on in this is courage. You had the courage to do it.
Yes, sir.
You had the courage to do it.
Got to.
You had that inside fire, that internal fire that says, I don't want to just work a 9 to 5. I don't want to just have somebody controlling the bulk of my hours and schedule for my life.
Right.
So even if I have $200, even if I am sleeping on my sister's floor, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to pour gasoline on this dream, on this this goal of being a real estate entrepreneur.
Right.
And it's that ugly houses, phone number, call them. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
52 deals later.
52 deals later.
Look at you.
And actually, that's 54 because I got
54?
2 that's in escrow right now.
Right.
It's about to close this month. So.
I love it. Yeah,
so, 54.
Anybody that is like in South Carolina or inspired by your story, how can they get in touch with you? How can they say congratulations?
Right.
Do you have an Instagram? Do you have an email? Do you have what?
My Instagram is Pat Martin REI. So I'm Pat Martin Real Estate Investment, Pat Martin REI, and my Facebook name is Pat Martin. So anybody got any questions? And I've you wholesalers that's new, I've honestly done like a lot of joint ventures from my Instagram. I made 6 figures from my Instagram. So hit me up, man. I respond, quickly, man. If you got questions about it.
But not only that, not only did you make 6 figures, the people that reached out to
made
you
money too.
made 6 figures.
They made money too. So yeah, man. Hey, man, don't be scared to reach out and.
Yep.
Man, I'll go on an appointment with you. I'll call a seller with you, man. I'm willing to help people get deals and get it done.
If you're in South Carolina, take advantage right away. If you're watching this or hearing this, take advantage of that. And if you just want to give some love, just reach out to Pat and tell him congratulations because he's doing something really special. What does the future look like? We have options, right?
We do.
When we start with wholesaling, now all of a sudden we're staring at different doorways. You got fix and flip. You got rental portfolio.
Right.
You've got development. You got be in the bank. Where do you see yourself? What does the future look like?
Me, I see myself building like a super wholesale operation. I want to continue to build that because I think like finding discounted properties.
Yep.
I mean, like if you get skilled at doing that, I don't think you ever go broke.
No.
If you know how to manage money.
Right.
Now, if you know how to find discounted properties at a discount, you'll never go broke.
Right.
So for me, man, building my super big wholesale business, and I want to develop land, so like subdivisions, and I want to own a free apartment complex. So man, just keep man, continue to build my business and man, get into the apartment buildings and the land development. And I think, hey man, that's it, man. Hopefully I'm back on this podcast about a year talking about the developments and stuff.
I love it. Well, I mean, listen, it's the game Monopoly, right? Our wholesale business is building a lot of these little greenhouses. We get the rent from that, and we build hotels.
And a lot of people
put the Red Hotel on, and now game over.
Right. And a lot of people, some people look at wholesaling as like some people frown upon it, but me, I think that wholesaling is a great business. It shows you how to talk to people. I mean, it's taught me how to respect people more. Like this business has taught me how to care more about people.
Sure.
Before this business, like I wasn't a bad person, but like my caring skills weren't really up to par.
Sure.
But this business, like seeing sellers lose properties, foreclosure, man. I mean, if you do 52 deals, you're gonna come across a lot of problems. So man, that taught me how to care more and have more empathy, man. So being a businessman, like you can, especially this business, it can like branch off into other things. You really can become like a better person if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
Pat, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
So good.
Yep.
I mean, absolutely incredible.
Appreciate it,
Might
man.
be the only person on the show with bigger arms than me. Watch out. No, dang, jeez. Anyway, a couple resources for everybody, guys. Dealmachine.com. It is phenomenal. It is the best app for driving for dollars. If you use the TTP coupon code, you get the biggest discount that they have on that. They love us. They love the Rhino Tribe. They love Wholesaling Inc. They love TTP. So use that coupon code and get that discount. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP, wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check out what the program is all about, the coaching, the mentorship. Check out all the testimonials. You'll have to scroll for a while because there is an unbelievable amount of them. But if it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call, a strategy call. We look forward to talking to you, and I look forward to working with you personally like I do with Pat here.
Yes, sir.
And
I appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate you
You
coming on here and flying all the way from South Carolina to
Yes,
spend
sir.
time here
Yes, sir.
in the TTP studio. So
Appreciate you
thank
having
you
me,
again.
man. Thank you.
And everybody out there, as I sign off, I always encourage you to talk to people. Till next time. See you guys. Love you.